Welcome back to Fire Princess Reviews. I'm Fire Princess Lily here to tell you about comics, cartoons, and other awesome nerd. So, things happened last week. I tried to record this video once, twice, 3 times, and I kept getting interrupted, so we just moved it on to today. It's kind of how these things go sometimes. So, yep. We're talking about, of course, SSSS.Gridman. Surprisingly, the show was not very long. 12 episodes. It only had 12. I was expecting a 26, 22 episode show, and, well, nuts to me, I guess. So, let's talk about everything there is to talk about these final episodes of SSSS.Gridman, and yeah, get into it. Now, of course, if you haven't seen these episodes, do go watch them, come back, see how I felt about them, about the anime in general. This video will be here. Just go watch them. You can definitely, probably, surely watch them all on Crunchyroll, even if you don't have a subscription, considering it's been at least a week or two since the last episode aired. But with that in mind, let's get into it. Now, of course, this starts off at episode 10, right after episode 9, where they were, of course, trapped in the dream by Akane, and they broke free. Now, Akane is a total just disaster mess. Like, she's very depressed because that was a really good plan, and, well, yeah, it didn't work out, so she doesn't know what to do. Of course, Alexis is like, well, we'll just make another kaiju. Let's make another kaiju. Come on, let's make another kaiju. And, so she does. But she does it really half-heartedly. Now, while all this is going on, Yuta and his friends are, of course, waiting for, like, the next kaiju. And Akane is actually out of school for an entire week. There's no kaiju attacks, nothing like that. And, nobody knows, you know, what's going on. Everybody just thinks that Akane is sick, of course, at school. And, of course, Rika is worried about her friend. Because even if Akane is a all-powerful, uncaring god, she's still got those feelings of deep friendship for Akane. Now, Akane does actually finish a kaiju, and it is probably the most grotesque kaiju of the series. It's disgusting, it's misshapen, it just kind of goes in no rhyme, no reason. If anything, it just kind of wanton destruction, which I guess kaijus do anyway, but it doesn't, it's like wobbly and, you know, it's not, like, out of all the guys in a rubber suit, this one was the most rubber suitiest. So, yeah. So Gridman appears, takes it out real fast using its full power mode, which he didn't even need because, well, it was a really weak kaiju. But during this, Auntie shows up, of course, in his badass kaiju form, which I've always really loved his form. It reminds me a little bit of Gigan. I think I've mentioned this previously. But he tries to fight Gridman, and he is absolutely no match for Gridman whatsoever in the full power form. And Gridman doesn't take him out. In fact, they question Gridman later. Well, Boar questions Gridman later, like, why didn't you take out the kaiju? And he's like, I did take out the kaiju. Of course, referring to the weak, misshapen one. They're like, no, this kaiju. Showing a picture of Auntie in his kaiju form. It's like, well, because he has a heart and a life and a conscience. So, yeah, sure, he's a kaiju, but he's not exactly a kaiju. So I don't take life needlessly. Kaiju aren't really actually living beings. He is, so I can't do it. Huh. Of course, you know, everybody's expecting everything to go back to normal. There is a scene where Caliber and Auntie are kind of dueling and fighting with his buzzsaw, Caliber's swords, you know, just going back and forth. And Caliber's like, man, what the fuck are you even gonna do if you actually do beat Gridman? Like, what then? What then? And it gives Auntie, like, a bit of, like, confusion and, like, an existential crisis that, like, yes, even if I did beat Gridman, my life, my purpose would be totally over. Like, bullshit. He, does meet up with the cane, Auntie does, and he's like, what the fuck did you build me for? She's like, to take out Gridman. And he's like, but what about after that? She's like, this is why you're a failed creation. Kaiju aren't supposed to be able to feel. They're not supposed to have hearts, and you do. So, get out. That's why your eyes are changing. And his eyes do change. They're a different, like, look. Her eyes, of course, are also changing, which kind of foreshadows a little bit what's going to happen to her. But we'll talk about that more later in this episode, in this video. So, the dead kaiju body's just laying there. And everybody can see it. It's like the longest it's ever just been, something's ever been laying there. And this is actually about halfway through the episode. And then something is actually born from the dead kaiju body. It's a different kaiju. It's all like super duper just like wobbly and like crazy and laughing real ugly. It's kind of disgusting. It's like a starfish. Like a really psycho starfish. And not only does it go about wrecking up the town, it actually kills the custodian kaiju who are responsible for putting the city back together after every battle. Like, it just flat out kills them all, gets rid of the mist, so now there's no way to reset the city. Gridman, of course, takes shape, full power mode to fight this threat, of course, that just born. And it is so erratic, so wild, that Gridman just cannot get a beat on it. So, Gridman gets his ass kicked. Like, it actually pulls different parts of the full-powered armor off and tosses it away. Like, it is super powerful, super disgusting. And that's when Auntie shows up, and he starts fighting the other kaiju. He's like, nope, nobody's going to beat Gridman but me, and until I am able to do so, I will fight with Gridman and protect him. So, Auntie's form changes. He becomes like a different-ish Gridman called Grid Knight. And he's super powered, he has an awesome like ring attack, and he totally beats this kaiju that Gridman couldn't, because the kaiju is actually a reflection of a Kane's heart. And the Kane said that kaiju aren't supposed to be able to feel other people's feelings, but Auntie can feel her feelings, so he's able to predict and guess what that kaiju is going to do, and so he destroys it. Of course, then he goes off on his own way. Everybody goes back to the junk shop, where they get, teleported back into the junk shop. And a Kane is there, not necessarily waiting for them, but she walks in, like, she's discovered their base of operations, and before anybody could really do anything, she stabs the fuck out of Yuta. Like, whoop! Because in her mind, she still needs to kill Gridman. That's the best and fastest way to do it, and so there you have it. He gets stabbed, and she also breaks Junk, the computer. So they rush Yuta to the hospital, right? Of course, they don't have time to go after a king because they got to save Yuta's life, and they actually get him to the hospital, and he turns out that he's going to be okay because they were so fast to get him to where he needed to be, the hospital. But he's in a coma, and nobody knows why he's in a coma. Now, while this is going on, Alexis is still, like, on a Kane's ass. Like, come on. Good job stabbing Yuta. Great job, great. You did good. Let's make another kaiju. Come on, let's just make another one. Let's make another kaiju. It'd be great. And she's like, there's no need to make another kaiju. I beat Gridman. I stabbed him. He's dead. So she doesn't know that he went to the hospital or got the services needed. And so he's like, fine, I'll just work with what I have already got. And so he resurrects every kaiju that Gridman has defeated. Every single one of them. Save for the weird starfish dude. Like, it's weird. And so those kaiju go on a rampage across the city. All of them. And everybody is just witnessing this because, of course, the custodian kaiju are dead. So nobody was there to wipe minds in order to keep cohabitating going. Right? So everybody's gathered around Yuta at the hospital, including the Neon Genesis students. And they're like, well, go out, go fight, you know, do your thing. And they're like, we can't. Without Yuta and Junk, we have no power. We can't do anything. And Auntie shows up. He's like, so that's your excuse? You're not going to fucking do anything because you're lame sauce? They're like, well, you could do something, Grid Knight. And he's like, is that what you're calling me? Cool. Sure, I'll go do it. And he goes and he whips all kinds of ass. He is super quick, super fast. Like, it's like the difference between a person in a rubber suit, where we kind of have with like the Gridman kaiju fights, and a rubber suited guy versus a guy in like a mocap suit. He's just like on them, moving fast, throwing kaiju at other kaiju. It's amazing. It's a great, great scene, and he just totally whips the shit out of kaijus. Now, it's a lot of kaiju to go through, and he starts to wear himself down. Now, while that is going on, the rest of everybody realizes that the reason that Yuta can't wake up is because Junk is still broken. So they go to the shop, you know, they take Rika's mom, the Neon Genesis students take Rika's mom, they go back to the Junk shop, and they repair Junk. They, like, do their best. And they get it working. Bam! It's super good. So, yeah. We find out that Yuta isn't necessarily Gridman so as much as Gridman is possessing Yuta, and that's why Yuta doesn't have any memories, is because Gridman doesn't have any memories of the world to begin with. He is both Yuta and Gridman at the same time, so it's kind of just a little bit messing with them. Whew. Meanwhile, while this is happening, or actually before this is happening, Utsumi has realized that people die in kaiju fights. Like, kind of obvious, my friend. But he realizes that... Oh, there's going to be a train. Well, I'll just talk over it. He realizes that even though Gridman's, like, beating kaiju, there's still a bunch of property destruction happening. And that means people are dying, and he's really upset with himself for ever having been excited about kaiju fights and, you know, being a giant kaiju fucking nerd. So... yeah. And he's decided that he's of no use to anybody. You know, he doesn't even own the computer. He doesn't even like really help out. And so he's just done with it. Rika has gone off to find a Kane because, you know, she's still a Kane's friend. She wants, you know, her to kind of answer for what she did, but also maybe save her. She's trying really hard. Of course, Kane is like in total distress even after Rika finds her. And she's like, you know, just go away. I'm a god. I don't need you. I don't need anybody. You know, this is my world. It's about this time that Gridman and Grid Knight have kicked every other kaiju's ass, and they're done. And so Alexis is like, come on, let's make another kaiju. He's like really on this, and she's like, I told you, I'm not making any more kaiju. And so he's like, that's fine, because the kaiju that I needed was right here anyway. And he turns her into a kaiju. He's basically like locked her inside herself and made her into a kaiju, which is his entire goal. Well, it's not the entire goal, but it's part of the goal, is breaking her down so that he can get what he wants from her. It's really weird. Now that Gridman's awoken in Yuta's body and has full control. He goes and he finds Rika, brings them together, and he's like, we need to get Utsumi as well. Everybody has to be at the junk shop. Needs to happen. Meanwhile, I need, like, it's been a while since I watched it, so I'm like trying to piece it together. He also tells Auntie that he needs to take care of this particular kaiju, the Akane kaiju, and Auntie totally agrees to do it, and he actually, it's a great scene, because he busts in, pulls Akane totally out of the kaiju, and renders it useless, which is great and, of course, amazing. Because there's a bit of, even though you abandoned me, even though, you call me a failure, I still really care about you because you're my creator, and I can see that you're hurting and I'm here to help. Like, it's a really good, in my opinion, scene. Which is, of course, the perfect time for Alexis to show up and just fucking gank his ass. Boop, stab, done. Tosses Auntie off the dead kaiju body, and is like, see, I told you I would take care of him, and now I'm going to take care of you. And he kind of absorbs Akane. Now, about this time, Yuta Gridman has gotten everybody at the junk shop after convincing Utsumi that yes, he's a part of the group, yes, he contributes to it. And that's when everybody, minus Rika and Utsumi, get like their own like wrist action, whatever, And so they all activate their link code thing. Auntie even gets one. He does it from wherever he is, like he senses it. And Gridman comes out in full, and he loses like a bunch of the things that were like, I suppose, restraining him. And the big twist is that Gridman is just Ultraman. Like, they're never going to call him Ultraman, of course, but it's almost the exact same model. It's just Ultraman. Of course, Alexis is like, I got what I wanted. I got, Akane's soul. Now I'm going to leave this place because it doesn't offer me anything anymore. I'm going to find my next Akane and just do all this shit all over again. And there's a big fight between Alexis and Gridman. And Gridman kicks the shit out of him. But it's revealed that Alexis has infinite lives. Like, great. So Gridman starts to lose until he realizes that he doesn't just have the power to destroy, he has the power to fix things too. So he uses his Gridman Fixer Beam and fixes the world, helps Akane, break free of Alexis using the Fixer Beam, and they capture Alexis. Boom, done. Akane decides that she can't stay in the world she created. She was the one who initially sought out Alexis because she couldn't handle the world at large and she needed help, and that's where she got her kaiju and her ability to make kaiju from, is from Alexis, to help her, like, curb and keep her world small. Not knowing that Alexis was using it to take away her humanity so that he could do all this other shit at the end. So she's decided she can't stay because there are things that, even if she wants to fix them as their god, she can't. It's just permanent now. Like, all the people she killed. That's not something that she can just erase over. So she's going to leave. There's a really super touching scene between Rika and Akane, which, look, I'm not... Okay, I kind of want to. I'm not saying it was a queer ending, but, like, look, I've had similar discussions with crushes and things like that in the past. It was pretty gay. Like, I was like, wow, I would totally... I feel like I called this. Did I call this? I feel like I did. Maybe if I've never said in my videos, I've always felt that there was some deeper connection that Rika felt for Akane other than just friendship, and it really feels that way, all the way out to the hand-holding before Akane does disappear. Now, Gridman and the Neon Genesis people, they also leave the world, and they're going to leave. Of course, Yuta's going to wake up, and he's not necessarily going to remember, but he's also not going to, he's not going to remember, but he's not going to forget. It's kind of like a weird, it's like etched in his heart, whatever. Whatever that means. And the whole series ends on a live action shot of a girl who looks like a king waking up in the real world. So, it was all a dream? Sorta? I don't know. It's a very Gynex ending, which I feel is appropriate. Like, at the beginning of watching this, I always say when I'm watching something from Studio Trigger, just because of where many of their animators originally came from, I was like, man, I really hope we don't get a Gynex ending, and we kind of did. The ending's a little confusing, in my opinion. It's not confusing in that I don't understand what happened. It's very straightforward. She woke up in the real world, so it was all a dream or just a place in her head, etc. So, who knows? Maybe she was in kind of a coma. I don't. It's very Dallas. Yeah. Overall, I liked the show. I love kaiju so much that I can't wait to watch the new Ultraman that's coming out next year. Even though it's all computer animated, it actually looks super smooth and not like chunky like it has, in the past. But we'll see how that goes. I am looking forward to it. Overall, it's a solid 7 of a show, like on a 10 scale. Like, I like the characters. Even the twists and turn, even if I kind of was like, yeah, I guess I saw that coming, I still liked it. Like, I liked each individual kaiju, except for, like, the gross one. Like, the starfish thing, that was unsettling, to say the least. But, yeah. So, if you haven't watched the show, if you, watched these review videos and decided, well, maybe I will take a look at this, I've spoiled everything for you, so take that for what you will. But if you haven't watched it and you want, a cleaner idea of what happened, go watch the show. It's on Crunchyroll right now. It's on Crunchyroll for free. Take it, watch it, do as you will. And that's it. That's everything. Tomorrow we're talking about That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Of course we are, because I love that show. I love that show so much. It's like, I can't decide if Zombieland Saga or That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is my top anime for this season, but it's good regardless. Oh wait, we're not reviewing that tomorrow. Why aren't we reviewing that tomorrow? Because there's not an episode until the 7th. So what are we actually doing tomorrow? Cool. We are going to be talking about Dragon Ball Z Abridged, 3rd season. Yep. Especially since the epilogue came out, I can definitely talk about this monumental thing that happened, and it's in the entire scope of the show. So that's what we're going to be doing. So stay tuned for that. It'll come out tomorrow. And as always, I'm Fire Princess Lily. Until next time, enjoy comics, enjoy cartoons, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!